Coffee with Jeff. Coffee with Jeff. Coffee with Jeff. Coffee.
Well, hello, how are you today? My name is Jeff. I'm so glad you could be with me today. You know, when I research and write these episodes for YouTube, I like to have the TV on. I like the background noise. I don't know why, but I like to have something on that I don't have to pay attention to, so I usually turn on the Mystery Science Theater 3000 channel or the Riff Treks channel on Pluto TV. That way I can work, but if something comes up that I know I'm going to enjoy, I can turn my focus to the TV for a few minutes, take a break, laugh, and then go back to my work. But I have to admit that when I watch the Mystery Science Theater 3000 channel, and they show one of the two movies we're going to talk about today, I have to turn on something else. I just can't do it. So today we're going to talk about two films that were first shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000, the first on January 11th, 1992, the second on January 25th, 1992. There were two films, Master Ninja 1 and Master Ninja 2, and who really cares who directed them? They do star Lee Van Cleef and Timothy Van Patten, two people with Van in their last name. What a coincidence. And there's a bunch of guest stars because these Master Ninja movies aren't really movies. Each one's two episodes of a failed 1984 TV show called The Master. So in the first episode, the bots make up their own model muscle car, and Joel is a little surprised when Gypsy quotes some suggestive Bruce Springsteen lyrics. Then Magic Voice has a bit of an attitude before the commercial. The Mads invent boil-in-the-bag IVs, while Joel and the bots create pop-up books for adults. At first break, Kroll presents conspiracy theories about the Van Patten project, and later we have Joel, Crow, and Tom acting and dressing in the way that the music from the film dictates. On next break, the gang demonstrates alternatives to nunchucks, and it finishes with the gang very upset over the film, so they make up a song, the Master Ninja theme song, sung while Joel reads a letter. And Frank tries to kill Dr. Forrester. In the second film, we begin with the gang on the SOL doing a crazy improv thing. And after the commercial, the Mads do their own improv bit before they reenact a Lucy sketch. Joel and the bots create a self-contained, self-perpetuating biosphere environment for a gerbil, which doesn't quite work right. After the break, the bots come up with designs for their own 1970s vans. Next, the gang does a parody of the film Patten, with Crow going back and forth with imitations of George C. Scott and Timothy Van Patten, poking fun at the way Timothy speaks. Tom discusses what pets are right for what TV characters, and we finish with Joel making fun of how Lee Van Cleef looks much slimmer when dressed as a ninja. One last thing, Frank would like the TV show The Second 100 Years to be brought back on the air. The Master is here. He's the Supreme Warrior. Even his eyes can kill you. His student is a Supreme Heartthrob. His eyes can melt you. The Master. Okay, Lee Van Cleef. He played Angel Eyes in The Good, and the Bad, and the Ugly, and he does have that stare, so maybe his eyes can kill. I'm not really sure about that, but Timothy Van Patten as the heartthrob whose eyes can melt you? I have my doubts. What do you, the audience at home, think about that? Now, I've already mentioned that these were 4 episodes of a NBC TV show. They aired at 8 p.m. on Friday nights, and right away the critics were pretty hard on the show. It only lasted for 13 episodes from January to August of 1984, but if you are interested in seeing them, they're all available for free on Tubi with commercials, so you can check them out there. And there might be a reason to watch them, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes. Now, the show was created by Michael Sloan. Michael was born on October 14th, 1946 in New York City, and as far as I know, is still alive today. He's a TV writer and producer who wrote episodes of shows like Columbo, McCloud, Battlestar Galactica, BJ and the Bear, Simon and Simon, and many more. The Master seems to be his first attempt to create his own series. He would go on to create the show The Equalizer and a series of TV movies called Mystery Woman. Lately, he's been the producer of the Equalizer movie starring Denzel Washington. Now, the Master, of course, is based on the popular mythology of the ninja, not actual facts. And I'm not an expert in Japanese history or anything like that, but from what I've read, this TV show, well, it isn't all that accurate. Now, besides Lee and Tim, the only other series regular was Sho Kosugi. Sho Kosugi was born on June 17, 1948 in Tokyo and is still alive today. He's a Japanese actor, martial artist, and writer with extensive training in many martial arts disciplines. Of course, Mystery Science Theater 3000 had a lot of fun pointing out how Van Cleef seemed to slim down when in the ninja costume. Of course, that is really because in many scenes, it was Kosugi under that black outfit. He also plays Okasa in the series, as well as being the stunt coordinator, ninja choreographer, and technical advisor. The show has guest stars like Claude Akins, Demi Moore, Crystal Bernard, David McCallum, George Lazenby, Robert Pine, Doug McClure, and many others. The main star, of course, was Lee Van Cleef. Lee was born Clarence Leroy Van Cleef Jr. and lived from 1925 to 1989. We talked about Lee in the It Conquered the World episode. He had quite a career from 1952 to 1989, the year of his death. If you're like me, you know him best for the two Sergio Leone films, For a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And of course, for John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Now here's a thought I had, and it has nothing to do with today's movie at all. Kurt Russell's father was Bing Russell. He was an actor who had never had much success, and he was in the 1957 movie Gunfight at the OK Corral playing a bartender. Also in that movie was Lee Van Cleef, and at one point Lee throws a glass at Bing. So I got to wondering if that subject ever came up when they were working together making Escape from New York. Anyway, we all know about Lee Van Cleef, so why don't we move on to Timothy Van Patten. Tim was born Timothy Van Patten on July 10, 1959, and is still alive today. He's an American director, actor, screenwriter, and producer. Now, I assumed he was the son of Dick Van Patten, Vince Van Patten's brother. But no, he's the half-brother of Dick and Joyce Van Patten, and is the uncle of Vince Van Patten. Yes, he's 2 years younger than his nephew, Vince. He is best known as an actor for the CBS drama series The White Shadow from 1978 to 1981. He was also in the NBC crime drama series True Blue from 1989 to 1990. But after that show, he quit acting and became a director. He directed episodes of shows like Touched by an Angel, New York Undercover, The Sopranos, in an episode which he also wrote, Sex and the City, Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire, and many more. In his career, he has won 2 Emmys, a Peabody Award, 2 Director Guild of America Awards, as well as a nomination for 2 BAFTA Awards. So Tim has done very well for himself. But one of the issues I have with these 2 episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000 is their personal attacks at the way Timothy speaks, right? I don't know why, that always makes me uncomfortable, especially if the actor's still alive, but that it's probably just me. So what is Master Ninja? Before we get started, why don't we check out the original opening of the TV show, or at least part of it. I like that better than the Film Ventures International opening. Now, first of all, this is not Illinois. I'm from Illinois, and I can guarantee this is not Illinois. So we meet Max Keller, a drifter who drives around in a custom van with his pet hamster, or possibly a gerbil named Henry. Hey, I don't know rodents. And because he believes in doing what is right, he often finds himself being thrown out of barroom windows. And one wonders why there is a surf cafe in Illinois. But regardless, Max takes care of some badass bikers who are harassing a couple in the bar. Meanwhile, in Japan, we meet John Peter McCallister. It would appear he's not wanted in Japan anymore, so he escapes to America to find a long-lost daughter. But before he gets on the plane, he takes a weapon in the back from a former student of his. Now, it just so happens that Max is entering the same town as McCallister, and he runs into Holly Trumbull, played by 21-year-old Demi Moore. It seems that she's being chased by the local sheriff.
What are you doing?
Take a better look, okay? What do I need to spell it out for you? The man tried to rape me.
Cop?
And we get an exciting 80s chase scene. Now, you would think the sheriff would have Max's license plate number, or at least the sheriff would recognize it later, but I guess that's not the case.
Oh, way to go, Max.
Meanwhile, John Peter McCallister is on his way. At the airport, Holly resists Max's advances, but she does seem to want to come to his hotel room and drink champagne, so I'm confused.
Max, I believe you can order chilled champagne even after midnight, in case Dick Powell's company isn't enough.
Won't be.
Max, McCallister, and the sheriff all arrive at a bar at the same time. Strangely, people in the bar seem to already know about Max.
Hey, Max! Max! Over here!
And they've already heard about John McCallister.
I've been hearing about him down at the truck stop. That old man can take care of himself.
This all erupts in some crazy ninja action.
Bring all of your energy to one point and you'll be unbeatable.
Get out of the way!
Does he know that?
Now, I have to say, if you only know this from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, there's a lot more to this barroom fight than they showed, and it explains a bit more. But Max and John leave together, and I'm thinking this might be the start of, well, you get it. So Holly's father owns an airport, but others want to buy it, and they plan to one way or another.
You've caused my client to lose a lot of money, and yourself unnecessary
That
grief.
feels right here. The man in the leather flying jacket wearing a red scarf, that's my father.
Max comes by looking for a place to hide McCallister. The ways of the ninja are of an interest to Max, but McCallister really isn't interested in a pupil.
I can hack it.
You got nice qualities, but not for a ninja. Anyway, I'm a cantankerous old man who's lived alone a lot of years.
I can see why.
But you know, I get the feeling these two will be together in the end. Max leaves, but a little arson brings him back. John saves the girl by using all his ninja training. And how did the sheriff's gun do that? It seems like all of this is happening because the bad guys want to build a shopping center. Like the airport is the only place in town for a shopping center.
I think your shopping center's premature, considering you don't own the ground the East Wing is standing on.
And how did it go down?
It didn't go down, Mr. Christensen. It went up, like a big fireball. Got thrown out.
I figured.
We get the first of Van Cleef's slimming ninja outfit. And we see he's being watched by one of his former students, Okasa. And do you think that Okasa wears that outfit all the time? I think he would stand out grocery shopping. Now, I bet you know where all this is going. Max and McCallister help Holly and her father in a most unrealistic way, but hey, this is an 80s TV show. They need to wrap things up in a hurry. Okasa and McCallister run into each other, and that ends up with Okasa having a severed artery.
You won't fight again tonight. It's hurt. An artery was severed.
Who is he?
Okasa, now a ninja master.
A severed artery is a serious medical emergency. It's often fatal, and it requires a blood transfusion and surgery. But I got a feeling that this guy's gonna be okay. In the meantime, McCallister decides to mentor Max, and the pair leave Holly behind as they are off to their second adventure. So in the next episode, we start out with a dancer, Kelly Patterson, played by Shauna Reed. When she gets done with her dance, I'm wondering what all these people are clapping about. I'm sorry, Shauna, but you are not much of a dancer. Beyond that, was there ever a time where people went to a nightclub and got so excited over a dancer? Now Kelly has a sister, Jill, who is in a wheelchair. She likes to watch movies of her dad, who used to dance in movies. Here's the thing, her father is played by Charles Collins, who lived from 1904 to 1999. He was a dancer in films in the late 1930s and early 40s, but his career never really took off. So when Jill's watching those old movies, they are actual films of the actor who's playing her father. Anyway, back to our story, and Jill won't let anybody forget that she's in a wheelchair.
I think it's kind of sicko for the leader of a wheelchair brigade to get such a charge out of watching other people dance. Don't you just hate dealing with it? An ex-hoofer with 2 daughters. One wheels, the other cartwheels.
A group of men from Chinatown walk in, and we know there's going to be trouble. They're looking for protection money, and there's a ring that McCallister recognizes. Now Max and John are in the nightclub because they think John's daughter might be there. She isn't, and that's not a spoiler because that's the hook of the series. Anyway, Max sneaks into the ladies' dressing room where there's plenty of opportunities for comedy. But sadly, there are no laughs to be had. But there are some problems with the bouncer.
See how you like this, pal? Here's a little warning.
Is it me or did Max just try to kill the bouncer? I mean, he threw that metal star pretty damn hard. And you know, the bouncer was just doing his job. I mean, creepy men like Max should not be in the ladies' dressing room. It's his job to protect the dancers. And John isn't too happy with Max stealing and using his weapons.
This is not a toy. You only throw a shuriken against another human being in self-defense. You ever again take another weapon out of my case, you be prepared to use it against your enemy, even if it's me.
I'd rather not.
And when they drive away from the club, they soon learn that they're being followed, and this leads to a exciting car chase. They're able to temporarily hide from their pursuers. McCallister gets out of the car, jumps on the hood of the enemy's car, and then, well, this happens? I have no explanation about what just happened, but Max and John somehow get away. McCallister helps Jill walk, which is great, except think about this. You're in a room thinking you're by yourself, and you turn and you see this face. I think a scream would be in order. To make a long story short, and to get done with this episode, Kelly is kidnapped while under Max's watch. McCallister uses Jill to deliver the money while he does ninja things. Eventually, Max and John make Kelly walk across a high wire to escape, which takes up a lot of time, and then because the plot is so thin, Okasa shows up again, and I'm guessing that severed artery healed real quick. This time, Okasa is electrocuted. That should have killed him, but I got a feeling he's still gonna be alive. So everybody is happy and they go watch some of Dad's old movies. Jill takes a few steps. They find out that McCallister's daughter was never there, and that's the end of that episode. Now to number 3. The big question of this episode is, will Max run the 4-minute mile?
Thought I was in shape till I met you.
It'll come.
A heart attack? Any second.
When you have to run the 4-minute mile, you'll do it in less.
We cut to a motocross race in which Max won last year. One of the riders is a young girl, Carrie Brown, played by 23-year-old Crystal Bernard, 6 years before the sitcom Wings. Also in the race is her sadistic boss.
Listen, lady.
No, you listen. This racetrack is one place in this town you don't know. Yeah, you can push me around the cannery, but out here, you gotta beat me fair and square.
After 3.5 minutes of screen time, Carrie wins the race, gets run over, and refuses to go out with Max.
So, how about a little victory party? At least dinner.
Well, I have to work the early shift tomorrow, and I don't even know you.
Good for her. So it turns out she has a bit of a Norma Ray thing going on, and she's trying to organize the workers into a union, and I bet we can all see where this is going. So John and Max drive out to the docks because Max is looking for work, and he thinks they're going to hire him for just a few days so they can make some money to continue their trip, and I don't get that at all. But it's lucky they're there because John saves a man on the dock. While at the cannery, we learn that some evil things are going on.
When we get a union...
I've told you, you better drop that union talk. It's just gonna get you more trouble than you want.
Like it did my brother?
Don't start again with your theory about your brother being done in by the cannery.
But the good news is, Max finally gets that date with Carrie.
How about dinner tonight?
Okay. Why don't you meet me at the seaside shanty about 8?
Later, while Max is getting ready for his date, we learn something about John.
Whatever happened to... It's time to get up.
What happened to you? I thought you had a heart attack.
I was still.
You stopped breathing. You have to breathe.
The heartbeat, like everything else, can be controlled. I just slowed it down.
Slowed it down? You stopped it.
Only in appearance.
I wonder if McAllister's little talent there will come back later in the film. So that evening, everybody's at the shanty for dinner. And that's where John McAllister meets Chad, the evil business owner.
You and the hotshot kid over there, now that he's lost the race, I guess you'd be leaving town.
What's it to you?
You just be sure Loverboy is on his way out of town tonight.
And we get a little Jerry Lewis type humor.
You got a light?
The date doesn't go well because Chad also owns the restaurant and orders that Carrie not be served.
Sandy?
What do you mean you can't serve?
Please, Carrie, don't start any trouble.
Well, how about if I do?
That leads to a fight and Max gets thrown through a window. Remember that first episode? So Max and John take Carrie home and she tells them of her missing brother.
My brother was just that close to putting a union in that cannery when he disappeared.
You're saying Webster killed your brother?
Yeah, and others. Take a left right here.
And it looks like Carrie might be next on the list.
I'm telling you, there's something weird about this old man she's been talking to. He makes me nervous. And the kid is a troublemaker. But if Carrie Brown isn't around, and there's no trail for him to follow, and they just drift on to the next town, then...
Ted, you can't start something like...
We're not starting anything, Carter. We're just finishing what has to be done.
So there's a meeting, and it all looks hopeless until Max gives a little speech.
Looking forward to your children going to college? Because it's not going to be easy on the salary you're making.
Now I'm wondering how he knows what everybody's making.
I don't know why Carrie's bothering to rock the boat for you people. You're doing just fine. I mean, you get paid what they want to give you. You work the hours they tell you. You clock in and punch out right on time. Their time!
You know, I've been working since I was 15, and I've had a lot of manual labor jobs, and let me just tell you that I've always got paid what they wanted to pay me and worked the hours they wanted me to work. But this leads to trouble.
Your young friend missed his vocation. Should have been an evangelist.
He does have a way with words.
Too bad he didn't do him any good. Or you.
It's Max to the rescue. And then we have another chase. They either find a conveniently placed ramp or their motorbike can magically fly. You know what would be easy right now? Just swerving a little to the right. A motorbike does have a bit of an advantage here, if you're not a total idiot. And was there any doubt that our heroes would escape? They head to Carrie's home and find that her house is in bad shape and she's pretty shaken up.
They've torn my place apart.
It's gonna be okay. We won't let them get you. It's all right. Stop it.
Max, I'm really scared now.
I guess these guys mean business. And okay, Max, you seem to be taking advantage of a young woman who's upset and vulnerable. Going to the cannery that night to look for clues, Max takes out a couple of security guards who, just like that bouncer earlier, are just doing their jobs. And of course, the bad guys keep records of those they killed. Just the evidence that our heroes need. But before they can take it to the police, the bad guys find them. Could this be the end of Max and John?
He's dead.
No.
It looks like John McCallister is dead. Oh wait, remember that little trick at the beginning? And to make a long story short, Max runs the 4-minute mile to save Carrie, but both are captured by Chad and his men.
Throw him in.
What happens to you?
Patience, pal. Your moment's coming.
But uh-oh, aren't we surprised that McCallister isn't really dead? A fight and the good guys win the day. And in the end, Carrie Brown gets her union. She kisses Max before he leaves her behind, and him and John go on to another adventure. And this is our final episode, and it starts out with Max flying in this thing, whatever it is. And where did he get that? I'm not sure. But while up in the sky, Max sees something.
Gotta get closer. Take my hand. Take it. Now. Pull up.
I can't do it.
Grab hold of the wire. Drop.
And look who's back, Okasa. After a severed artery and a severe electrocution, he's looking pretty good. So the girl rescued was Alicia Clayton, played by Jennifer Runyon. And you might remember her from the original Ghostbusters film. Alicia is a rich girl who doesn't even worry about losing her sports car. And she invites our heroes to a party, a black tie affair. But what's this? Terrorists are also planning to attend the party?
We'll come from the west, out of the sun. You'll come from the east. Yeah.
Senator Clayton won't know what hit him. We'll be ready. Every man knows what he's supposed to do. How many people do you want killed?
No one. We'll take what we came for and get out.
The problem with garden parties in California is you never know when kidnappers are going to show up. And look who we have here, David McCallum as Castile. David, of course, was best known for the series A Man from U.N.C.L.E. and the crime drama NCIS, which he was still doing when he passed away in 2023. Anyway, he's a mercenary who's working for some others on some sort of cause. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, you'll kill anyone who stands in your way for the cause. That's the burden you carry.
At the garden party, Alicia is approached by John Palin, who is obviously the bad guy. And McCallister meets an old friend, George Lazenby as Mallory. He's most famous for taking over the role as James Bond after Sean Connery left. He was fired by Albert R. Broccoli, and Connery was brought back for one more film. Anyway, McCallister and Mallory have some hard feelings from the past.
Never get rid of that thought, will you, Mallory? Why should I? Your pupils have gone back to the glory of the old days. Political assassination. Paid killers. A young man named Okasa.
Speaking of Okasa, it just wouldn't be a party without him there as well. Something is going down. And just when Okasa was going to make his move, with Mallory watching, the terrorists arrive. Okasa escapes and hostages are taken, including Alicia. Mallory puts a tracker on the helicopter. Max and John are arrested. So to get on with this, Mallory figures out where the kidnappers are, but as often happens in these hostage situations, only a ninja can save them.
There is one other way. A backup. 1 or 2 men over that wall and inside before we hit them.
That's a sheer 70-foot wall. No human being could climb that.
True, unless he were a ninja.
McAllister? Now, wait a minute.
We need him.
So they turn to John McAllister.
A 2-man operation against 40 armed terrorists. I like your idea of fair odds.
But John has a condition.
You don't release Max Keller until tomorrow.
I thought he was your friend.
He is. But he'd insist on going with us, and I'm not getting him killed.
It just won't be the same without Max, but I get the feeling that eventually he'll join the fight. But before all that can happen, there's a fight with Okasa. And after some battling, McAllister magically disappears and runs away. Max is free for lack of evidence. And you know, I find it hard to believe that the CIA couldn't hold this dude for one night. But it gets the plot moving. And not only did they release him, but they told him where it was going down. And look who's working with the bad guys.
John, you're one of them.
Poor little rich girl.
It's a totally unnecessary plot development, if you ask me. And wouldn't you know it, these two have to work together. That's a surprise. So I guess they keep that flying thing in the van with the motorcycle and all.
Just picture yourself over the Sea of Japan, Max. Riddled with bullets. Half a wing missing.
Okay, how loud do you think that contraption is? But to make a long story short, Max rescues the girl, the hostages are freed, Mallory and McAllister are now on good terms, help arrives in the form of stock footage, Max kisses the girl and says goodbye, and McAllister ends the show with a bit of a joke.
You know, before we go on searching for your daughter, we're going to swing by Vegas for a little R&R, and I'm going to show you a good time for once.
I thought we just had a good time.
Now I skipped over a lot, but like I said, they're available on Tubi if you want to watch the entire episodes. And now I did. I watched the actual episodes, not the movie version that was shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000. And there were many scenes cut that weren't shown to Joel and the Bots. And I don't know who did the editing, if it was for the movie version or if it was done by Best Brains. I don't know, but I will say that the actual episodes were a little better when you saw the cut scenes. They weren't good, don't get me wrong, but they were just a little better. Now, there were 7 Master Ninja films. I'm glad Mystery Science Theater 3000 stopped at 2. But from what I've read, they were going to show the 3rd one, but they changed their minds at the last minute and showed Samson and the Vampire Women. I wonder if, Mike, Kevin, and Trace were watching it and they thought, oh no, we can't do this. We've used up every Van Patten joke we can possibly think of. What gets me about these types of shows is how far can you go with the premise? I mean, the premise here is they're looking for McAllister's daughter, but that's just an excuse to wind up somewhere where there's a crisis, and what are the odds of every week finding a major crisis that you have to solve? And not just that, you have to solve it using McAllister's ninja skills. It seems highly unlikely. And we never see the big dramatic conclusion, right, where he actually finds his daughter, like finding the one-armed man. So we'll never know what happened there. So now it's time for today's obscure reference, and we're going to do 2, one from each episode. The first one, we have this.
What, now he's a Walenda? Yeah, he sure is. Yep.
The Flying Luendas were a family of stunt performers who performed high-wire acts without a safety net. And I think some of the Luendas are still doing it today. And next we have this.
I say they outvote you 100
Look for the union label. Come on, everybody, come on.
Now that was a theme song in the late 70s and early 80s of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, and it was on TV all the time. And if you're as old as I am, you'll know the song almost by heart.
Look for the union label when you are buying a coat dress or blouse. Remember somewhere our union sewing, our wages going.
Now, like I said, these movies were edited from a TV show, and that was done by Film Ventures International, and we all know them because there's been a ton of their work on Mystery Science Theater 3000. They had that weird thing of redoing the credits and usually using some other movie for the opening credits, something I don't understand. And the company went bankrupt a long time ago. We've talked about that, and I'm wondering if that's why there's so many on Mystery Science Theater 3000, because they got them for very cheap. But you know what? Why don't we watch the best of these episodes from Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Max.
I thought I told Dwayne the actor. I did. It's Lee Van Cleef.
Filmed in Mendocino County, Illinois.
Here comes your TV car chase. It's the TV car chase theme. Your TV car chase. Your TV car chase theme.
He looks about as much like a ninja as Irene Ryan.
It unscrews. Oh.
Look, Lee, we made some mistakes. You made some mistakes.
Kids, what was that?
Flubber! Where's Demi Moore? This movie's gone off in a whole different direction.
That's really rich.
If I could only get out of this chair.
Hey, if we could only get out of this movie.
Oh, bad idea.
You're a dancer. Dance!
Well, you're an actor. Act!
This is wild, I swear.
I can't.
We know. Tumble out of bed and stumble in the kitchen. Pour myself a cup of ambition.
Hey, what are they fighting over? The fryer exhausted Arby's?
Yeah, I think so.
Looks like...
Let's not get carried away.
No.
You're the hoofer. I'm new at this game.
Yeah, he was also in Happy Hoofer Goes to Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Sloan, shame on you.
Indeed. Hey, easy on the dribble, Lee. Hey, whoa.
Things are not what they seem, Lee.
That is one good-looking union organizer, eh?
You got a light?
Yeah, my button your fit. Oh, that's not right.
Nobody's running me out of town.
Without
leaving.
Okay, we'll just follow you to the party then.
Sunday at Great Lakes Dragway, Union Grove, Wisconsin. What's this? The end of Master Ninja? Tune in tomorrow, same ninja time, same ninja station. Mendoza!
Could strain across the beaten.
Could strain a course of bacon?
No pain. He said.
My peach is dipped in soda? What is he saying?
How do you like our little film? Something seems a little fishy.
Kill him.
Charles Moffat, feared not. Puma?
Well, are you digging this theme?
Stop him!
Next week on Mannix.
Hey, look, Bud Cort's up at the top of the cliff playing a banjo.
News of my death is somewhat exaggerated.
Ooh, Lee Van Cleef and Mark Twain tonight.
Even the Europe.
What is our plan?
Oh, shut up, Mr.
Hold on,
Bond.
helicopter assault at dawn.
Keep it down! I'm missing all my children.
Come on, everybody, sing it. Get a bucket of chicken. Come on, finger lick.
Boy, this chicken's just not going over.
Oh, hell, I'm not shy. Can I have your dessert, too? You get up that rope, cigar!
We'll execute them just before we leave.
Oh, you always put everything off till the last minute.
Furnace filter.
It's
not funny. Furnace filter.
Whoa there, just a little bit.
Yeah, he's a ninja, all right. Look at the cat-like moves.
And I'm gonna show you a good time for once.
I thought we just had a good time.
Oh, Master Ninja, will you ever learn?
He's a man with a plan. He's a ninja. You gotta go where the hamster goes. You're a ninja.
Well, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed my documentary on Furike Burroughs last week. And I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I went all over the internet and everybody seems to pronounce it a little differently. This was the most common one I heard, so that's what I went with. And I hope she'll forgive me if I got it wrong. And you know, it was one of my least watched documentaries, and I don't think too many people remember Miss Burroughs, but that's okay. I enjoyed making it. In 2 weeks, I'll be watching The Castle of Fu Manchu starring the great Christopher Lee, and that's about the only good thing I can say about this film. To say this film has problems, that's an understatement. I want to thank you for watching. It means a lot to me, it really does, and I really appreciate the likes and the comments and all that. You guys are wonderful out there. I don't have a lot of viewers, but the ones I have are great, and that includes you, I guess. I don't really know you, but I'm assuming you're great. Anyway, stay healthy, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.